Hey guys, Artosis here. Welcome back to ArtosisCasts. Sorry that I've missed the last few days. Came down with a pretty bad illness. Still have a little bit of it, so you might hear a little bit of coughing and blowing my nose. Sorry about that in advance, but I'm very happy to be starting a new little series of casts here. This is called the GAN Race Survival Tournament, and it's pretty cool. You've seen some of these before. I've done some of the KCM matches, which are pure Korean pro gamers. This one is a mixture of two teams of Chinese pro gamers and one team of Korean pro gamers. So this first match, Team Protoss will be Chinese. It's going to be AP, Hoon, and Xiaojiji. The Zerg team also going to be Chinese, as you can see in the bottom right there. DuGu, Jedi, and Kid. And then the Terran team, probably the favorite team, of course, going to be the Korean team with Bishop, Haya, and Scan. So definitely looks like one that I would favor the Terrans for, but don't count those Chinese players out. As you've seen in some of these matches, we definitely can have some thrilling matches between the top Chinese and very strong Korean players. And certainly in this type of format where there's a bit more sniping with, choosing the right player on the right map to take down the right opponent, as well as everything being best of one, I think it does bring the chances up that China can emerge victorious, especially considering they have twice as many players. All right, so this first match we have here on Sylphid on the left spawn. This is Haya. You see he's under the Mulgogi ID. That's just an ID that he uses a lot, but yeah, this is Haya. And then we have Tank Speed, our Zerg player up in the top center. Obviously, his real ID is not Tank Speed. This is DuGu. Certainly one of the best Zergs in the Chinese scene. I've casted a fair amount of his games in the past, if you do want to check those out on the channel. Now, looks like we're going to have Haya go up and find him right away. Pretty standard opening from Haya, right? Like barracks into a couple depots, and he'll be going for a command center very quickly here as well. As far as DuGu's side goes, looks like we're going to have that gas coming up pretty quickly. So yeah, it seems as if this is very likely to be a two-hatchery Mutalisk play. One thing I should mention about DuGu's play style versus Haya's play style. Haya I generally look at as a somewhat technical Terran player. Not exactly like a Bishop or a Sock, but kind of in that area where it's like he's a little bit more build order and strategy based. You don't think of him having the greatest micro or the greatest macro. So we'll see what he ends up doing with that. The thing is, he's probably got enough raw power that he can probably go for one of those more standard plays and be completely fine here against DuGu. Now, as far as DuGu goes, DuGu is a very aggressive Zerg player. This is someone that we're very likely to see go like Speedling Muta, right? Or even possibly a Lurker opening. You know, those can be very risky. Don't think they work that much, honestly, at the pro level. But, mixing that in can be powerful indeed. Especially if you get rid of that SCV very, very early, which it doesn't look like he's going to quite get. In fact, looping back in at this time, this would be when you would already see the Hydralisk Den going down. So, beautiful glide there as well. That could have ended up in a kill. Just a couple hits each from the Lings would have ended that SCV with the drone block. So very well done from Haya to keep that alive. And yeah, he's going to know that very, very, very likely this is going to be a Spire tech coming up. In fact, he might... No, not going to quite see it. He should have seen those 4 Lings hatch, but that's not really out of the ordinary. Anyways, Spire going down here. Let's take a look back at Haya's base. Looks like he wants to get... Oh, he's going to skip going for a bunker. Instead, just throwing down the depot, which will screw up Ling AI as it comes in. Continuing to produce Marines off of these 2 racks. Does look like... Excuse me. Does look like we're going to see just the 2 racks Academy rush out of Haya here. Like, he wants to get out there, put a little bit of pressure on, maybe force some sunken colonies, that type of thing. The Speedlings coming up and, like, not really getting damage, but, like, trying to pretend. You never know if they're making a bunch of Speedlings behind this for sure. Generally, it's pretty odd to see Speedlings made this late. Normally, they're made a little bit earlier if you lose that SCV. So, Haya is just standing tough here. He's got his 8 Marines. The 2 medics are popping out. And this is, like, a perfectly executed 2 racks Academy opener. He's got the 8 Marines. He's got the 2 medics. He's moving out at 5 minutes. It's exactly what you're looking for. Already, one creep colony on the way. Kind of far back. That's like kind of an interesting location. Normally, you'll have that a little bit further forward. This is like a tougher defense on things. Like, everything gets a little bit squished in this area. You can't really put lurkers behind it later on as easily and things like that. So, that's an interesting placement. It's not a gigantic deal either way. But notice how... Well, that's actually a really great snipe on that Overlord. My gosh. There are 5 mutas already on the way, but Haya is sitting back extremely defensively, deciding to not actually move out. He may have thought that there was going to be a lot of speedlings there, which, again, this is something you might think if you're like a higher level player than your opponent. You might look at it and say, well, he might need the speedlings to kill my early Marines, so let's play a little bit further back. But he doesn't force 2 Sunkens, right? There's like one that's going to be going up. But if you do go out and they didn't make the speedlings, you do end up forcing 2. But obviously, if they made the speedlings, you lose your Marines. You might lose the game because of that. Either way, we have that 3rd base here from DuGu. In Haya's base, he's going for the 3 racks, which is a pretty middle-of-the-road build. Pretty safe and solid against everything. Throwing up his turrets just in the nick of time here, as you want. And now the harassment begins. Well, we'll see how good DuGu does here. I mean, he's already gotten like 1 pick off, but he's only got 5 mutas. So, you know, Marines are about the best thing you can go after right now. You do need that 6th Mutalisk, or I'm sorry, 7 Mutalisks to kill off SCVs in 1 hit. So you probably won't start hitting those until at that point. The 5, though, staying kind of busy. Brings Lings in, tries to hit that natural. Have the Hydralisk Den going up at the 3rd base. Kind of a good location to put it. You don't ever want to really put your follow-up tech at your Naturalist Zerg because that's the most scanned area from Terran. You know, it's kind of got the rally point, and you can tell a lot by the drone count there as well. Anyways, more turrets being added. Haya's playing such a careful game. Look at this. Beautifully set 4 turrets. 3 turrets here. 2 on the bottom while he is getting harassed a little bit still. Gonna go ahead and cancel that depot. He didn't actually get +1. Okay, this is peculiar. I think that this was probably a mistake from Haya. Because he's going into SK Terran. You really do need to have +1 going already. So yeah, definitely looks like it's a bit of a mistake. That's going to be a pain. I bet you we'll see that +1 start pretty quickly here because he's going to be looking at it and being like, oh gosh, I should be getting +2 soon. Oh, but he gets an armory. Okay. Okay. So, and he's getting a Sand Gas as well. My apologies. This... Oh, no, he does start it. I was going to say, with the armory plus the factory landing at the natural and the gas... Like, if you're getting the armor, you don't need the second gas too quick because you're getting Volks. But I was thinking maybe there'd be like a mech switch, but no, he did forget the +1, so definitely a mistake there. DuGu keeping up a bit of harassment with these Mutalisks. Yeah, gonna pick off a fair amount of the Marines. You know, they're not nearly as scary without that +1 attack. And he doesn't have any turrets actually supporting this area that he's fighting in, so... Like, he might end up losing a few buildings over here, which would be annoying indeed. Now, Lurkers are being morphed. Hive already on the way. Haya hasn't really left his base yet. He is going into siege mode, but this is actually far too late. This is not very well timed, and he's... This is like a weird game from Haya. Like, honestly, I understand this, being a Terran player. He's looking at this, I think, and saying, like, I definitely should win this. So let's play carefully, but he's actually playing a bit too carefully here. Like, the fact that he went double starport, and we have the armory, but there's no science facility, and there's no Valkyries being made. So I think what happened was he was gonna go Valkyries, thinking it was gonna be heavy muta, and then he realizes it's Lurker. He's like, okay, I better get siege tanks. But the siege tanks are actually, like, kind of, like, late for what is going on here. Look, he's starting 2 Valks now as well, and the Lurkers just come up and burrow. Now, he's not going to die to this Lurker push. The Lurker push, in fact, not going to do that good a job because he is sitting back on a siege tank. That might actually even be surprising for DuGu to see siege tanks here, because it doesn't feel like a game where you should be seeing siege tanks based on his build. Now, the +1 attack looks like very likely to get canceled, which is really, really painful there. As the 2 Valks come out, okay, he will be able to save that. The 2 Valkyries should be able to chase these away pretty easily at this point. So the Valks chase away the Mutas. And he is going to start to push. But again, like, the siege tanks aren't going to do a lot because, look, Consume is already, like, halfway done. And as soon as Consume is done, 2-3 siege tanks really don't do anything. You know, Darkstorm completely counters them. You just have to run them away all the time. So Haya needs to, like, kind of take over this area and make sure that he does not get Darkstorm pushed. Because his vessels are going to be very, very late here. That's kind of the big problem that we're looking at. Now, some good Valkyrie volleys there, but here come the Defilers. This is an issue right now. Like, he is going to Dark Swarm push, and Haya does not have the correct army to deal with this. He has double dropship coming out, so maybe he can get some counter damage. But this is a possibly deadly push. The Dark Swarm goes down, and see, I mean, he's going to be able to get that. Comes out from the side and picks off another lurker. He does have a couple tanks. So, like, doing okay there. That was misplaced. Like, the 3 lurkers here, the splash gets displaced to the south, I guess, to the bottom, and allowed some hitting there. But, yeah, so this, like, to me right now, I look at this, I say DuGu's in a great spot, honestly. Now, the double dropships are trying to go. Oh, my God. Scourge coming out to catch them as well. And, ouch. Loses both the dropships. Dude, I think he's dead. Like, honestly, he's making some fire bats now. He's making mass fire bats to try to bust the incoming Darkstorm that he knows is going to occur. But, I mean, 2 siege tanks only. We don't have a radiate. We don't really have anything for him to deal with this. All right, 4 lurkers get burrowed under a Darkstorm, and he is going to continue to push forward. As long as he leapfrogs, like, 1 at a time, I think he's going to be pretty good to go. Kind of a big upset here, but honestly, once again, this does look like a game to me where you're playing too carefully, too safe, right? Like, you do want to play somewhat safe against a weaker player, but honestly, even if the difference is like 200 MMR or something, you still actually want to be careful not to play too safe. Because as you can see, DuGu knows how to, like, execute this. Like, he's getting in here. He's getting the push done. He's doing the right moves. He's denying a lot of mining. You know, right now we have Haya kind of holding on. And there's not, like, a ton of workers for DuGu. He's definitely spent most of his larva on these attacking units. You know, this is not great saturation. This is okay-ish. But it's just not a lot, right? 26? But he's got everything into position at this point. There's now he's killed off the comm set. He's throwing plagues literally onto a command center at this point. Look at this. The 2 lurkers getting in. This is a deadly moment. He's going to lose all 3 of these siege tanks. Honestly, I'm expecting a GG coming in pretty quick, but hold on. He does make a couple more dropships and somehow, someway gets through. He's going to target down the Defiler Mound, which may allow him to end up holding this. There is a small chance here still. Okay, this is still an area that can be a little bit difficult to push through. You have to be very careful with your Dark Storms. Yeah, see, just throws it down just right. There's no fire bats out there to kind of lead the punch. And the counter drop is doing a lot. So a little bit of a base trade scenario. Again, not a lot of workers. Okay, most of the drones have run to here. He is going to lose his hive. A radiate goes down to the Defiler. There's 2 more Defilers. If he gets rid of all the Defilers, that's where you get an actual opportunity that may occur. I do think he needs to lift the factory and bring it in to build another siege tank. Because he's going to need that to push out if he does get rid of all the Defilers. There's just too many lurkers here. But look at this. The Darkstorm comes down, and there's just not enough. Oh, my God. And we're going to start off this GAN Race Survival Series with a win for the Zerg Team China over Terran Team Korea. Like, this is a big moment, man. Like, to see Haya go down, such a respected pro. Oh my God, I didn't even notice Greater Spire was on the way. But to see Haya taken out, this is someone that's been in a lot of Star Leagues in the past, very well respected Terran player, being taken out by one of the top Chinese Zergs. Kind of an aggressive style, but he did a great job with it. And honestly, there's not much left. Like, you're not going to bust this many lurkers and hydras with this small amount of bio that only has +1 attack. he chooses to plague the starport's kind of cute. And that's 7 lurkers, man. It's just not something you're going to be able to stop. Haya trying to stay in there, does not want to lose, but obviously with the Guardians coming in from the other side as well, his spell usage will not be enough. He's breaking the side lurkers. But as these Guardians come in, there's just no way. He just doesn't have enough number-wise. Marines can beat Guardians as they come into the open fields, but not in these numbers, not with the lurkers in here as well. So, a good game from DuGu. Great finishing moves here. And GG is called. So going directly here into game number 2, we're on Nemesis, and Hoon, the #1 Chinese Protoss, comes out for Team Protoss. Yeah. So anyways, he is doing a pylon scout to the north here, and he will end up finding DuGu, who surprisingly did take out Haya in that very first game. I think a great start to the GAN Survival Series. You know, this is what we want to see. We want to see highly contested matches, and I think this is, again, the right format. You know, I've casted a lot of, like, 9-game matches, and there you're basically going to see the stronger player win every single time. It's almost impossible otherwise. You know, but you get something like this, and it's not to say that DuGu is even weaker than Haya, but even if he is weaker than Haya, you know, it's a best of 1. It's a single map. And like I mentioned, there's like a lot more sniping and things going on. Like, for instance, Hoon coming out here. I'm not sure exactly, because I don't know the other Protoss players super well. Xiao JG is someone who I've casted some or AP I haven't really casted, so I don't really know much about him. But Hoon is being put out first, and he is considered the strongest. He's also considered pretty darn cheesy. We've seen crazy things like cannon zealot rushes against Zerg in the past, and in fact, we've seen a lot of cannon rushes coming out of him. I thought that might be something you'd be looking at this game. Not the case, though. It is a pool first anyways here from DuGu. He's probably quite aware of the way Hoon likes to play regardless. Now, cannon coming up. Hoon, of course, getting his Nexus here at home. We have a few Zerglings coming out to try to chase that probe away a little bit. Let's see. Oh, that was a good surround. Only 1 health left. Probe might be going down quickly. Like, there is a real possibility that you kill this probe, and Hoon has to play a bit in the dark. Like, maybe a 3-hatch Hydra or something comes. But good maneuvering, and he is going to be able to get through the eggs here. So that probe will be safe, and we'll be able to get home. So at least he saves the probe, but we just don't have any more information that he's going to be gathering as to what's going on. Now, hatchery going down at this 3rd base natural location. This is like a very normal spot for Zerg to take as a 3rd base on Nemesis. If you try to take these inside bases, first off, they have less there as far as resources, but also you can't rally out units, right? Because of the eggs. It takes a long time to kill the eggs, so let's say your opponent starts putting a lot of pressure on. Well, your Hydras or Lings are basically stuck there. So this isn't actually a bad map for Protoss in PvZ. You definitely, as a Protoss player, can and oftentimes will take these kind of middle bases and kind of protect them with Corsairs, cannons, maybe kill off the assimilators yourself so Zerg can't run in there and deal damage to you. But look at that. Tries to block the probe incoming with the drone, but messes it up a little bit. And he will actually end up seeing that this is 3-hatch Hydra. Right? Like, he saw that den. I'm 99% sure he saw the den. If he didn't, that is a travesty. He does get another pylon started here, which does point us towards that he would want this for those additional cannons. Let's see if he actually starts +1 here. Because if you actually think a Hydra bus is coming, your +1 probably won't finish in time, right? Well, we'll see what Hoon wants to do, but sends a couple Zealots out to the side. And second cannon already being made. I am actually kind of questioning now. He went in. I mean, if you see the hatchery at that point, you're kind of suspecting too. But the probe got to like right there. I believe that it gets to see it from there. But anyways, we'll see as long as he holds this correctly. And in fact, a Citadel going down very, very quickly here as well. There is a possibility that he goes for a quick Dark Templar as part of the hold. Utilize your first Corsair to kill off these couple of Overlords. Like, you don't need to go scout. You can focus on killing Overlords really quickly, which will, of course, provide a supply block as well. Yeah, he's adding more cannons, so definitely he did see that we were thinking about, wondering about before. 3 cannons up already. And let's see what he does with that Corsair. Does it go straight across the map? You know, he might go across just to confirm and then bring it back to kill Overlords. He did start a second one. So yeah, he's actually just going to kill these Overlords immediately. Honestly, I would like to see him get this one very quickly. Maybe he's afraid that this one will fly back and see the tech that he's going for. Excuse me. Sorry, still have a little bit of that cold. But anyways, the Corsair kills off that first Overlord. Needs to get this second one as well. As soon as he spots, of course, the cannon gets a shot there too. So not going to be too big an issue to kill that off. Oh, he's actually just getting Zealot legs. Okay. This isn't too uncommon either. In fact, I've seen some people skip the Corsairs and do this, although I think the Corsairs here were good. But you can do things like just go mass, you know, ground units when you see that your opponent is skipping layer. So right now the Hydra's coming up, continuing to try to put pressure on here. This one Zealot causing a little bit of grief over here for DuGu. He's going to have to send these drones across the map since he has no units there to help. 2 more hatches are coming up, so it's like 5 hatch. Is coming up here for DuGu. He's going to have to start producing quite a few units, honestly, to block the amount of Zealots that'll be coming in. 4-gate speed law is no laughing matter. It's definitely a strat that I've enjoyed watching a lot from Protoss players over the years. Now the Corsair still harassing a bit over here. I think he may have actually... Did he lose the other one? Yeah, this Zealot is just kind of chilling in the top left, so I believe he actually lost the other Corsair. I think I missed that one, but gets his second gas up. I'm sure that Templar Archive is going to be something you want to think about soon, and of course, start some of those upgrades as well. So Hydra's popping out. And yeah, it is time, man. We have that speed done. Of course, no +1 upgrade or anything. I think John Hoon in a very good position here, though. His speed Zealot's going to really cause a problem. This Zealot going back over for a bit more harass. Actually gets a drone there as well. And trying real hard to get another one. Doesn't quite get it, though. And here we go. We get the Zealots in on top of these Hydras. There's no static D here whatsoever. Oh, that's a beautiful surround right there. Gets so much damage done. Drone's trying to block. Hydra's coming up as well, but as long as he targets well, he should be able to bust this down. Hydra's from DuGu cleaning up some of those Zealots. You can see the probe count is over twice that of the drone count. Of course, that didn't stop DuGu in our previous game. And, well, he is going to go ahead and just run these Zealots away, just buy a little bit of time. In the meantime, his next group of speed Zealots are out. Kill a few Hydras that were rallied out to the front. And it looks like they're going towards that top left. Now, the 2 Zealots here, of course, just bought a bit of time. It forced some units to come up to clean, which means these units getting back will take a little bit longer. This little army here does not beat these Zealots. So this is a nice move from John Hoon. Gets over here. Ooh, that is a great evolution chamber. Really going to block him for a moment. Allows a ton of extra hits there. Nice cancel as well. Drilling those drones, trying to get them in front. And they are buying a little bit of time as the other Hydras come back. And of course, this will end up being enough Hydras to erase these Zealots. But damage is being dealt. Look, we're up to 51 probes against just 22 drones now. A hard time for DuGu keeping his economy together or even growing it at all. High Templars are on the way, as well as Psystorm being started. Look at this. We're already on 6 gates. 2 more coming up. A robotics facility coming up as well. I'm not so sure what you're even supposed to do at this point. More cannons being added. It feels like John Hoon is really closing the door on a DuGu comeback. Like, from here, you've killed a bunch of Zealots. Maybe you're thinking, well, let's try to bust again. But if he tries that with the more cannons coming up, I mean, his window is very, very small. Because as Psystorm finishes, that's it. Now, Zealot's coming out. And you know what? He busts one cannon very quickly. Another one gets quite low. There is a Dark Templar on the way, but 3 slow Overlords coming up. So it looks like he has accounted for that possibility. DT, yeah. He's the DT and High Templar drop coming up. So you drop the DT, you kill a bunch of drones if you can, and of course, storming other drones. Sometimes you can force drones to run to another base, then you drop a High Templar there and get even more with your storm. But either way, I'm sure that that drop is going to be very painful to deal with when you only have 22 drones. Right now, DuGu has massed a ton. He's going to try it again, but we're going to have 2 Psy Storms ready. Gets through a cannon. That's a big storm right there. Oh, my God. Another big storm. Oh, my God. A huge storm goes down there. Dragoon's starting to pop. He is getting Dragoon range. It's not done yet. DT runs by everything. Gets caught right there very quick from DuGu. Not getting any vocal alerts there, but still blocking it perfectly. Another storm is ready. And yeah, this Hydra count, I don't know if it's enough to actually break through, man. It seems like Hoon has more than enough. Oh, he tries to target the Observer, but accidentally targets one of his own Hydras there as well. Things not going well right now for DuGu. High Templar gets picked off, so that's something. Some good micro coming out of DuGu here for a moment. Unfortunately, look at this. He's at 18 drones against 53 probes. That's a pretty big deficit to try to come back from. He's losing a ton of Overlords. Doesn't necessarily have money to replace everything. GG, Hoon putting one on the board for Protoss.